This Friday, Congress's House Energy and Commerce Committee will hold a field hearing in East Palestine, Ohio, to discuss the hazardous train derailment that devastated that small town back in February. Republican Congressmen Kathy McMorris Rodgers and Bill Johnson announced the hearing today. They'll assess the cleanup progress following the train wreck, and they're going to hear from members of this community, as well as local business leaders and the Ohio EPA about the effects of the derailment. Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw and East Palestine's mayor have been invited to testify. Joining us now, the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Ohio, Jon Husted. Sir, thank you for giving us some time on this morning. We appreciate it. From where you sit, are you satisfied 7 months later in the testing, the mitigation, the cleanup, and the overall handling of this toxic event in your state?
Well, my satisfaction is completely based on whether the people of East Palestine think that it is the right thing. And we have been working on the ground with the cleanup team. I just got off the phone a while ago with the director of the Ohio EPA. They expect it will be cleaned up by the end of October. But we'll stay until the people of the community, the mayor, the leaders there are satisfied with what's happened.
Well, based on my conversations with members of that community, then you would be deeply dissatisfied with where we're at all this time later because they're frustrated. They feel overlooked and ignored. What do you expect to come of this hearing on Friday? What will the state be demanding to know?
Well, I think it's a good idea that they continue to keep the focus on this so that the Biden administration doesn't fail to act from the Department of Transportation point of view to the disaster declaration, to keep the focus on this community so that Norfolk Southern does keep up their end of the bargain. And I think at the hearing, you'll continue to hear those voices from the local community detail the things that they would like to see happen.
Something as simple as further testing seems like a no-brainer, right, that they're asking for that hasn't happened to the extent they would like to see it. What are the hurdles in doing so?
Well, to me, there shouldn't be any hurdles. It's just paying for it. And Norfolk Southern has the obligation, from my point of view, to continue to pay for continued testing so that we can reassure the people of the community that the cleanup has been completed and is successful. And if there's a discovery of problems, then that would put the obligation back on Norfolk Southern to continue to look at remediation efforts.
What tools does the state have to put that pressure on Norfolk Southern?
Well, I believe we have strong tools with the EPA and the continued pressure that our fellow members of Congress, whether that be Congressman Johnson or Senator Vance, will continue to put on the federal government to uphold their responsibility to enforce the laws on Norfolk Southern. As we know, federal regulators regulate the railroad industry, and we expect them to use the tools that they have to hold Norfolk Southern accountable.
Yeah, to your point, this is not just a state issue. It is a federal one, and important at that. President Biden says, I haven't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. There's a lot going on here. I just haven't been able to break and go there. That has been a point of contention for a lot of people who think the president hasn't prioritized this. Would you like to see the federal government and the president visit East Palestine? And if so, what would be that conversation you'd like to have?
Well, it should have happened a long time ago. I mean, Air Force One can stop over on the way to many other places he's been traveling across the country. They would easily make it convenient for him to do anything he wants there. But he's chosen not to make it a priority, and that's disappointing. But I do expect that they will try to preempt this hearing that's coming up on Friday with some type of announcement. And I hope it's meaningful. I hope that the federal government is doing what it's responsible for here and in using the tools that they have to keep to hold Norfolk Southern accountable.
I hear in what you're saying that you sympathize with these people who have been dealing with this disaster for months. What would be your message to them all of these weeks into this about remaining hopeful that they'll have the transparency and accountability they so desire?
We're in partnership with them to hold the railroad accountable. They should continue to make their voices heard. The mayor will be represented at this field hearing. You just can't let the issue die. You got to keep the pressure on. The governor and I and Ohio EPA and our congressional representatives will be partners in making sure that this community gets the response that it deserves. And this one on housing that's out there right now, I felt for a long time that the company had the responsibility to buy the houses of people who wanted to move out of that particular affected area. And hopefully we're going to see some movement on that.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.